Hey guys, it's Brittany. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my January wrap-up. It's a little bit late, but I'm just now getting around to filming it. And I'm going to start with the books that I rated the lowest amount of stars and end with my favorite book of the month. And before I get into that list, I did chop all my hair off. So we're going for that new 2020 short hair. Don't care. Gonna get into the list. The first book I'm going to discuss is a book that I checked out from the library, so I've already returned it, and it is, since it's my lowest one, I obviously didn't like it that much. It is one of the books in Holly Black's Modern Fairy Tales bind-up, and that book is Tithe. Now, I had to keep in mind repeatedly telling myself, like, Brittany, this book was published in 2002, so 2002 14-year-old Brittany may have really enjoyed this book, but 31-year-old Brittany was just like grossed out by the descriptions. Like, the whole time I could not help picturing everything just smelling like one of those house parties I would have gone to as like in my late teens or early 20s, where everything is just really stale, cigarette-y smelling, and everyone's just like hungover and sweaty and like ugh. Like, I don't think she ever mentioned Kay like showering or taking a bath like the entire book, and I was waiting for it because she discussed a lot of other stuff, but not that. Another thing that I was not really here for was the insta-love between the character of Roybin and Kay, our main character. I did like Roybin, so I do understand why Kay would have found Roybin appealing, but I just really do not understand what a like immortal fae, like all-powerful war general hero saw in like this, like I just said, kind of nasty, ratty looking teen girl. Who he didn't know was, you know, involved in his world at all at first. So I don't know. That's just, I didn't get it. And Kay as a character, like, kind of sucked. Like, she kind of made a lot of really stupid decisions that didn't make sense, and I really didn't understand like her thought process. Like, as we were reading, I was like, where did she come to this conclusion? Like, I missed thought process or something, because this makes no sense to me. But yeah, to this book I gave 2 out of 5 stars, and I was going to read all 3, but I read the reviews for the other 2 since then, and I think I'm good. I'm gonna skip those. Okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is the book that I read for my book club, and that book is Last Night I Sang to the Monster by Benjamin Alire-Sans, and I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. I just really did not enjoy it. I didn't like the narrative. Being in this teenage boy's head was kind of awful, and I'd never want to do that again. He just repeated the same things, like the same like slang phrases over and over again. I was very frustrated, and I kept having to put it down and take breaks, even though it's a really short book, and it took me so long to finish because I needed to read it in like small doses, because that's as much as I can handle it. To me, it just felt kind of inauthentic, and a little bit, some of it is like he made it as sad and trauma-filled as possible, but there was hardly anything good about it. I will say that the very last like part of the book kind of saved it from being a 1-star for me. I just did not enjoy it. I liked his other book that I read by him, the Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe, and I would recommend that one. But this one was just a no. Oh, I gave it 3 stars, not 2 stars. My bad. So yeah, I just didn't enjoy the writing style. I didn't enjoy that there was not really a story or a plot, because for me to care about character-driven stories that are just about development, I have to care about some of the characters, and honestly, I was just so ready to be done with this book. Another thing that I had an issue with is I kept falling asleep every time I would pick it up to read it. Like, I would be sitting on my couch in the living room with my like kid while she's playing and watching Mickey Mouse, and I would be like, perfect time to read, and I would literally fall asleep like sitting up like reading, because it was so boring. I could not get through it. So yeah, 3 out of 5 stars. Really, it's like a 2.5 out of 5 stars the more that I think about it. I'm so glad I never have to read that book again. The next book I'm going to talk about is actually the last book that I ended up finishing in January, and that is Come Tumbling Down by Shauna Maguire, and that's the 5th book in her Wayward Children series. I checked this one out from the library too, and I was lucky because there was not a waiting list, and I was like one of the first people I think to read it when the library got their copy in. And I did give this book a 3.5 out of 5 stars, but I still really enjoyed it. I can't stop comparing it to the 4th book in the series, which is just, to me, the best book in the entire series. I just really loved it. And also, this book is about characters from the 1st book, as well as characters from the 2nd book, Jack and Jill. And they're probably my least favorite characters that are in the series, and the Moors, their world, is also probably my least favorite world. I'm just not interested in it. I know a lot of people loved them and really loved the 2nd book, but I did not. So I think this is just very much a personal preference, because the writing is the same, and I listened to the audiobook, and I've listened to like 2 or 3 of them besides this one, and Shauna Maguire herself narrates it, which really helps. So the writing's still whimsical and fun, and I still enjoy the interaction of the characters. I think it's really just, I was much more interested in the goblin market and those characters, and when I found out it was more Jack and Jill, I was like, great. So I'm still really excited for any more books that she puts out in this series, and I will absolutely pick them up. But yeah, this one was 3.5 out of 5 stars. The next book I want to talk about is kind of a novella, actually. I read it on my Kindle app, and that is The Lost Sisters by Holly Black, which comes between the 1st and 2nd book in the Folk of the Air, so The Cruel Prince, then this, and then The Wicked King. And I at first thought I wasn't going to like it because, you know, I just really, really don't enjoy her sister. And I really don't feel like this book on its own helped me feel any kind of understanding or it didn't make me like Taryn any more than I did after I read The Cruel Prince. Honestly, I don't think that I thought Taryn was going to redeem herself for me at all, but I still really liked seeing the other side of what was going on during that book. So I did really like this book, and I gave it, what, 4 out of 5 stars? I gave it 4 out of 5 stars, and I just think that I would read anything set in this world. If she wants to release any more novellas, I will eat them up, because I really enjoy this world and these characters, and I would really like it if there was more Jude and Cardin in it. I think the thing I like the most about this is seeing the things that Locke was saying to Taryn and how he was acting to her, because before we only really see it from Jude's perspective. So I thought that was really interesting, and it also just made me really, really hate Locke. God, what a great villain character. He's so easy to hate. And on that same note, I finished up the Folk of the Air trilogy in January as well. It was one of the first books I read in the month from the library. That was, of course, The Queen of Nothing by Holly Black, and I really liked this book. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, maybe even 4.5 out of 5 stars. Let me see. Yeah, I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and I think the only reason I took a star off was really because it was just way too short. I feel like the actual build-up to the big climax and the big problem was not long enough, and we didn't get enough Jude and Cardin, like angsty. Like, I mean, they've been away. Like, I want to see her have to, like, decide whether she trusts him again. I don't know, just more interaction between them and more, you know, scenes between them. I love their relationship. Like, at first I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. Like, he's a huge jerk. Like, I'm not interested in this. And then, of course, by the end of The Wicked King, I was like, Jude, you're crazy. Cardin is amazing. And I was like, heartbroken. But I did really like it. I think I have the same kind of issues that everyone else has been talking about. It's just that it felt really rushed. It felt like the problem was solved too easily, and the whole situation with Maddox was resolved too easily. What a great character and interesting character dynamics between Jude and Maddox, and I just think that she could have explored that further if she had just made the book like 100 pages longer. But I can only hope for more from this world, even if it's not these exact characters, although I would really love to see something else with Jude and Crawdad, especially Crawdad. But I do love Jude. Jude is an awesome female protagonist. Like, if I really am excited to love a female protagonist. She's not like flawless. She has so many flaws, and I just think that's really, really good writing on Holly Black's part to give us such a like a real, authentic person to root for, and to sometimes get annoyed and frustrated with her decisions. But I really loved this book, and I wish that it wasn't the last one. Okay, and the last book that I'm going to talk about was, I guess, my favorite book of the month that I was able to finish, and I actually have that one because I own it, and that is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I tabbed this one a little bit. There's a lot of really pretty writing. I think that's my favorite thing about this book was the atmospheric writing. I mean, you can tell Delia Owens is familiar with the marsh and the creatures and the plant life, and I just really loved that. I really loved the story of Kaya and just how it went from like this really sad story of just constant abandonment, and then the end was just really good. It was really good to see her end up having a really good story. And there's a gnat in here. I don't know if I got it. Anyway, to see her having a really good story, and someone who was made so powerless and othered by people in the community to kind of reclaim her power. And I loved it. It was really interesting. Now, I do live in the South, but I live in Alabama. I don't live anywhere near marshes or swamps or bayous. But I appreciated how she separated the class of people, because we do have a lot of poor here, especially, back in the 60s and 70s. There were people who lived without running water and power and stuff just like her here. So it was really interesting to read, and beautiful, and this is super hyped up. It's in Reese's book club now, as they printed this on and it won't come off, which I hate, but I think it lives up to the hype, and it deserves to be read. Now, this is absolutely not for everyone. If you are more interested in a really good plot, a really strong like story with like twists and stuff, this is probably not it for you. There is a plot, and there are dual narratives, 2 different timelines. We go back and forth. But I have a friend that read this, and she was just not here for it, and I was like, I totally understand that. If you don't like the South and you don't like reading things in a very strong dialect, I would not recommend it. But I gave this book 5 stars. Well, and those are the 6 books that I ended up finishing in January. I almost finished up the library book, but I did not finish that until February because I think I put 30 tabs in that book. I read it so slowly. I loved just taking in all of the facts and information about libraries. I can't wait to talk about that next month. But yeah, did you guys read any of these books either this month or previously? Are any of these some that you love? Are you interested in reading them? And what's one book that you read in January that was a standout that you would recommend to me? I would absolutely love to have recommendations to add to my TBR. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching my January wrap up in the middle of February. I appreciate it, and I guess it's better late than never. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon with another video. Bye!